Hey beloved, my name is Krista Pettiford. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about encouraging yourself in the Lord and speaking over yourself what God says about you. But first I want to welcome spring, and it's been it is a leap year, and we just passed February 29th. I actually have my great niece was born on leap year, so she got to have a birthday party this year. And that word leap in the Bible means to spring up or to leap over something, to spring up. And so we're entering into spring, and then we have this leap year. And so maybe you've been stuck. Maybe God has spoken things to you and you feel like you've been kind of stuck in a place and just going through life, and you hear these encouraging words, but you feel like that you're stuck and there's not really much you can do. But I want to encourage you today that you can encourage yourself, and there is something that you can do about your circumstances. There's something that you can do to bring the joy back in your life. There's something that you can do to get the victory over your enemy, over your flesh, over the world, whatever you're going through. And that is speak God's word over yourself. This is 5780, and it is a decade of pay, P-E-Y, which means mouth, or to say and speak what God says about you on the Hebraic calendar, in the biblical calendar. That Hebrew word 80 means to say, to speak, to decree, to declare, to use your mouth. And so I want to ask you, what have you been saying? It's March. It's only 2 months into the year. And maybe you had a confession. Maybe you had a word that you had written down, your one word for the year. I know I did. But then life gets busy and we get kind of off track and we forget to look at what we wrote. And so I have a habit, and sometimes when life gets busy I forget about it, but I write things, the promises and prayers of God, in my journal. I write my vision out every year. Not only do I make a vision board, but I actually write out what God has spoken to me and shown me, and I have videos about that as well. But I write my vision, and I write the promises of God, and I write the God-given goals and vision that I have for myself for the year and for my family. And so, but sometimes we forget and we stop saying that, we stop believing that. But I want to challenge you. And before I challenge you to take these practical steps, I want to ask you to subscribe to my channel and to like this video if it encourages you, and to bless somebody else by sharing it with them. Now, the challenge for March is that you, with me, we know it's Lent season, and that happened last Wednesday. And I have not ever really celebrated Lent, although my mom was Catholic and I was raised Catholic. I got born again when I was 20 something, and my youngest daughter was born, so that's 23 years ago. But as a born again Christian, many do, but I didn't celebrate Lent. But this year I wanted to do something, and I'm not against it. It's just the church that I am in, we celebrate Jesus all the time, and so living that set apart sacrificial life. But as I understand it, Lent is a time of giving up something and drawing closer to the Lord, whether you're Catholic or any religion, or any form of Christianity, should I say. But what I would like to do in the spirit of Lent, not really Lent, but what I'm doing personally, is I have given up some things that I am used to, that I enjoy, but also I'm challenging myself to take that time and to speak over myself, to get in front of the mirror and to speak God's word, not just affirmation, but the promises of God that he's given me. Paul told Timothy to war a good warfare according to the prophecies that went before him, that were spoken over him. And so sometimes we get in a rut, but what we say changes our atmosphere, changes our mindsets, changes what we think about ourselves, and it causes a breakthrough to happen. And so I just pray, as we're going into spring, as you're seeking God for more energy and the things that you are supposed to leap over, that you would create a momentum to leap over the walls and to have hinds feet on high places, the obstacles, not only the obstacles, but the responsibilities and the things that you have to go up higher for to seek, to receive of God, that you would begin to encourage yourself in the Lord every day. So the challenge is this, that you would take 5 minutes out of your day in the morning and in the evening, and that you would take out your journal, your one word for the year, or whatever you wrote down in January, and you would speak it over yourself, that you would speak it over your household, that you would speak it over the things that concern you in the morning and in the evening, and in between in the day, that you would watch your words and not say anything contrary to what you're asking God for. And in April, let's see how far you've come. Let's see what has come to pass. And for those things that have not come to pass at that time, because God has a set time for everything, let's see where your mindset is. Let's see where your faith is resting. Are you resting in faith, or are you still struggling with things? Are you believing God to do something big? Do you have something big that you're working on? Do you have an agenda to write a book, to do a conference, to just get another job? I speak to ministry leaders as well as everyday people. And so I want to balance it out. Whatever that you're believing God for, whatever God has promised you, whatever your God-given goals are that you wrote on your vision board, or that you wrote in your journal as writing your vision, I want to challenge you to not just put it away and walk away from it and say, that was a nice little project that I did. That was a nice little journal project and creative project, and now I'm moving on and I'm struggling every day. No, I want you to actively engage with your faith, those promises, those words, those goals that you set for yourself. And I want you to take this month and just work on the thing that's most important to you a little bit every day. Whether you said you wanted to get closer to God, whatever it is that you wanted to do, read your Bible more, use your gifts more, be closer to your family, spend more time with your husband or your children, whatever it is that you said that you wanted to do, whatever you believe that God has called you to do, then I want to challenge you this month to make time for it, because consistency, and the consistency of what we do is the power to change our circumstances. And so I want to challenge you, if it's working out and eating right, whatever it is that you put on your, not New Year's resolution, but the things that you wanted to accomplish, because it's good to make God-given goals. I believe it's Charles Stanley who said, if God gives us goals, he gives us this calling and he gives us a purpose, and you don't think he's going to give us any God-given goals with it to do, how else are we going to get there unless we persevere and push through and challenge ourselves? So if you don't have any goals that are higher than you can attain to on your own, that are not as easy for you to accomplish, then I encourage you to write some goals that you have to press toward. And it will encourage you, because then you have something to work toward, that when you get to the end of the year, or you get to the end of the month, that you can see how much you have accomplished. But in setting goals for yourself, also remember, make sure they're doable. You don't want them to be so high that you cannot attain to them, but you don't want them to be so low that they're not a goal, and that you are not going to stretch yourself, or need prayer, or need God to get them done, or need other people to get them done. And so I encourage you to begin this month This is a practical teaching to begin this month. On top of, if you have your prayer time and you have your devotional time where you read your word, where you spend time with the Lord in prayer and worship, then look yourself in the mirror. So that's the 3-part challenge. Look yourself in the mirror and then say what God says about you. And do it twice a day, in the morning and in the evening, so that you go to bed thinking about the word of God and what he's promised you. And you bring yourself into agreement with that. And you begin to rejoice in that. And then you walk out your house in the morning claiming the victory. Not all the things that are not going right or the things that are going wrong, but rejoice in the things that are going right. Remember what God promised you and leave the rest to him. Trust him. Speak those things, call those things that be not as though they were. Speak over your life. Encourage yourself in the Lord. And I believe that he will give you the victory. And sometimes, beloved, we're the people that need to change. It's not always the outside, but when you change and your mindset changes and you begin to use the authority that God has placed in you, then things begin to line up in your life. And that doesn't mean that everything will be perfect overnight or that it will ever be perfect, but you can have perfect faith toward God. You can trust him perfectly. You can rest and you can have the peace of God, and you can believe him for what he said he's going to do, and you can have a good life and a blessed life. And so I just want to encourage you today to be blessed, to speak God's word over yourself in your life and see how things happen. I'll be checking in. If you don't follow me on social media, you can find me at Krista Pettiford on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, although I'm rarely on Twitter and I haven't really been on Instagram a lot lately, although I'll go back on because I've just been chilling this season as I have finished the Call Conference and just working with some women closely on their ministry visions. And so, but I do challenge you to take that time out and to spend time speaking over yourself, speaking God's word over yourself. Whatever is going on with you, when you begin to encourage yourself like that, of course you're going to still need friends and prayer partners and all of that, but you can encourage yourself. You can pick yourself up off of anything, any pity party, any sadness, anything the devil has said that you can't have, that you can't be, that you can't do. When you begin to encourage yourself in the Lord, the Bible says in Revelations that we overcome him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So whatever you're facing, whatever you're challenging today, I want to encourage you to take 5 minutes out of your day and speak over yourself. And if you can, do it twice a day and watch God begin to change first you and then the things and the people around you, in Jesus' name. Again, if you like this video, please subscribe and like the video and share it with someone. And let me know in the comments if you're up to the challenge. God bless.